Howdy folks, I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Eating My Boyfriend's Soup? My boyfriend made a beef stew/soup for dinner, and I said I would have some too. I get the bowls and the table ready as he's finishing up. He starts feeding his dog, who hasn't been super into her food lately. He tells me he's going to mix some of the beef soup into her wet food so that hopefully she'll think it tastes better, and I said, okay. He uses the ladle from the pot to pour the soup into the dog's food and mixes it around with the soup and dog food with the ladle, then puts the ladle back into the big pot. I didn't realize what he had done until I looked over and it was too late. He basically mixed bits of dog food into the pot. I was like, dude, did you really just do that? And he didn't think he had done anything wrong. I really did not want to eat the soup/dog food mixture. I thought it was kind of gross, and so I just had a Hot Pocket instead. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but now my boyfriend's upset with me for overreacting and not trying his soup. It wasn't like we were making it special for a date night or something. He was just hungry, and I said I'd have a little bit too if he made food. We don't live together. Am I the jerk? Alright, OP, no, I don't think that you're the jerk in this situation. You two clearly have different opinions about what's acceptable in mixing dog food with food. I agree with you in this case. I personally would not be eating soup that had dog food mixed in it with it, but that's just me. What do you folks think? Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, he can eat his own Scooby Snack soup, but I don't blame you one bit for not being interested in kibbles and stew. And OP replies, Scooby Snack soup has me rolling. You don't have to partake in his fancy feast. Not the jerk. Bro, he mixed dog food into your food. Just no. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for How I Reacted to My Wife's Pregnancy Announcement? I'm on mobile, so sorry for any mistakes, and English is hard for me tonight. My wife is a 26-year-old female, and I'm a 30-year-old male, and we decided to start having kids. We've been trying for over 9 months, and nothing has happened. We were told to be patient, but I couldn't help but keep stressing out about a problem that's preventing us from conceiving. The issue is that my wife keeps joking about this matter and pranked me twice by lying to me and saying that she was pregnant. The first was when I was at work and she sent a text telling me that she was pregnant. I was so happy that I came home and brought stuff with me to celebrate, only to find her laughing in my face saying it was a prank. The second time was when she told me she was pregnant and was recording my reaction during and after the prank, again laughing at me, telling me it was a prank, but this time she shared the video with her family. I told her I didn't appreciate how she laughs about a serious matter, then having me believe that it was true only to ruin my happiness. She stopped for 2 months. Last night we were at my parents' house sitting having dinner when she said she had a gift from me. She had my sister go bring me a small teddy bear with a note and gave it to me. I was nervous and worried about her pulling some kind of prank in front of my family. I read the note that the teddy bear had on it and said that I was going to be a daddy. I looked at my wife and she smiled at me and congratulated me, saying that she was pregnant. I saw red completely. That's it. I got up from my seat and tossed the piece of paper on the table and snapped, telling her to make fun of something else so serious and sensitive. I told her I was done with her lack of respect and sympathy for the most important thing that I've been struggling with, and to include my parents in the prank too was low. My wife excused herself to the bathroom. My mom and dad were unaware of what was happening. They literally paused and asked me what was wrong with me. My sister said my wife was actually pregnant and just confirmed by tests that she's seen with her own eyes. I felt both happy and devastated because I thought she was pulling the same prank on me again, and I got fed up with it. My wife was mad and argued with me in the car, saying I ruined her joy and made her look awful in front of my family, as well as lashing out at her and my reaction to the happy news. She said that she told me in front of my parents to show that she was serious this time. She had her mom call to berate me and said her poor daughter will suffer with my boorish behavior and lack of respect for her. My wife has been giving me the cold shoulder ever since. Am I the jerk? She told me that I ruined the moment that she's been waiting for so long, and that she'll remember my reaction for the rest of her life. Alright, OP, you thought that she was going to pull another prank on you. I think that your reaction was a little over the top, but she also pranked you 2 other times with this, and, this is the story of the boy who cried wolf. Once again, she's proving the boy who cried wolf, and that you shouldn't say things, you shouldn't play pranks like this, because this wasn't funny to you, this wasn't really a prank, it was just her being mean. And now you're bearing the brunt of the responsibility for her actions and her poor choices. So no, I don't think that you're the jerk in this situation. Not the jerk. This is a classic case of the little boy who cried wolf, but instead it's the grown adult who faked pregnancy announcements. I don't blame you in thinking it was fake, being that she has done this twice before and shared it with the family. I do think you could have reacted better, but I understand your frustration. Your wife sounds incredibly immature to be having a child, especially sicking her mom onto you. Couples therapy before the little one is here is a good idea, not just for this, but to help ironing out parenting differences that will pop up. Congratulations on the happy news. Our next story is titled, Am I a Jerk for How I Handled a Creep? I'm a 28-year-old male and my wife is a 27-year-old female, and we got into an argument over me confronting a coworker. During the beginning of the pandemic, me and my wife lived apart due to the nature of my job and having a 3-month-old. One of her coworkers, a 36-year-old male, had previously asked her out and brought her flowers. She shut him down. Now, upon finding out that her and I were living apart, he tried to make many more advances, going as far as driving 2.5 hours to where she was with her mom to just try and see her. Having had enough, I walked into his place of work and confronted him. I had asked him multiple times to stop, and he just laughed it off. He filed complaints to his workplace and his wife's boss against me. I was asked not to return. Fast forward 6 months, and a great job opportunity came up, so we moved. I get a message from a friend that this guy is trying to transfer to a location right where my wife and I moved to. I lost it. I drove 3 hours back to where we moved from, and I went to his boss and explained the situation. My wife has now been shunned and lost friends at her workplace over this. She said I embarrassed her and made her look like I'm a crazy person. Am I the jerk for how I handled this? Thank you so much. Apologies on the wording. Made this post quickly. For reference, she works in a public place at a grocery store. Update. Had a long conversation with my wife last night. She admitted to having a short-lived affair. She broke it off and he kept pursuing. Turns out she was shunned and lost friends due to people finding out that she had an affair, not because I confronted the coworker. I appreciate all of the advice and thoughts. Alright, OP, I think that going to the workplace and yelling at him was probably over the top, but, you were trying to defend your wife as well. I think the way you went about it was inappropriate, though, so I don't know. Certainly, this is a difficult situation. I can understand why you would want to do what you did, and also I can understand why you would drive back to the place of work to talk to the boss about what was going on here and voicing your concerns, because you didn't want him transferring into an area and harassing your wife even more. So I do get why you would be overly protective in this situation. So I actually do have a little bit of a hard time faulting you entirely here. So that's kind of my point of view. Anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk. Why don't you respect and trust your wife enough to handle this herself? What gives you the right to interfere with her workplace? She should have clearly filed a grievance on her own about undesired advancements with HR, but this is for you to advise her and let her decide what to do. So yeah, you're a big old A. Time to apologize to your wife and tell her that in the future you will trust her to handle her own life issues. She tried to handle it. Read his comments. She blocked him on every platform imaginable. Has told him to stop, and he talked to her and his boss about this, and he still won't stop. He's still sending her D-pics, even though she told him to stop. Everything you said she should do, she did. The workplace didn't take the harassment report seriously. At worst, this isn't everyone's a jerk for his reaction, as the correct next step was to file a police report and get a restraining order against this man. Yeah, I think that was probably the better reaction, would have been to file a police report. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like. If you didn't, consider giving it a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.